we're going to answer this question before us. It says, records indicate that in Australia, 65% of secondary students participate in sport and 71% of secondary students are Australian by birth. They also show that 53% of students in, sorry, let me read that again. 53% of students are Australian by birth and participate in sport. So we've got this intersection of being Australian by birth and participating in sport as 53%. Use this information to find the probability that a student selected at random is not Australian by birth, and the probability that a student selected at random is not Australian by birth and does not participate in sport. Okay, so whenever you've got a question like this, we're going to use our Karnoff map to clearly see what each probability is going to be. So we're going to come over here, and the way that we're going to set this out is we're going to say, all right, you're either Australian or not Australian, you either play sport or you don't play sport. Let's now roll this up. Like this, like that, like that. Perfect. Hopefully your Karnoff map looks a bit prettier than mine, but this will do. Okay, so 65% of secondary students participate in sport. So that means the total of my sport column will be 0.65, and 71% of students, 71% of secondary students are Australian by birth. So Australians, 0.71 there. So I'm just changing those percentages into decimals. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want everything to add up to 1. Instead of 100%, we'd like to deal with 1. But you could do 100% if you wanted. It would just be not something we tend to do. Okay, next. They also show that 53% of students are both Australian by birth and participate in sport. So that means this part right here will be 0.53. Okay, now once we've done that, we're going to fill in our missing numbers because that's everything they've given us. First thing you want to put is a 1 there. That's a funny looking 1. You want to put a 1 there because you know that Australian and not Australian must be equal to 1 and sport and no sport must be equal to 1. And now it's just a matter of figuring this out. So what would 0.53 plus what would be equal to 0.71. That's going to be 0.18. 0.53 plus what would be 0.65. That's going to be 0.12. Then what would I do next? I would figure out this one next. So 0.71 plus what will be 1. That'll be 0.29. Then I can figure out this one. 0.12 plus what will be equal to 0.29. That's going to be 0.17. And then I'll add up these two to give me 0.35 as my last one. Perfect. Now that we've filled out the Karnoff map, we can now ask ourselves these questions. So find the probability that a student selected is not Australian by birth. So this is A, the probability of A complement. So the complement of Australian. So we would come and we would look here. That is going to be 0.29. 0.29. Perfect. Let's now go to our next one, B, which is asking not Australian and does not participate in sport. So that's going to be the probability of not A, the intersection of no sport. Okay, so that is going to be, if we get our highlighter out again, this one right here, 0.17. Come over here, 0.17. And those right there, everyone, are our answers. This one and that one. Perfect. Hopefully this example has made some sense.